Alright, the last thing that we're going to do with this assignment is to create some enhancing with some of your prints. So, you can work with whichever print you want. You might start with one of your favorite ones to begin with. So, when you look at your paper, this was a rectangle, but your block of 4 was a square shape. So one thing you could decide to do is trim off the extras. But instead of just grabbing my scissors to start guessing where to cut, I'm going to give myself a line. So I might begin by cutting around the edge of my print if I don't like the extra. Or you just might decide that this is too much extra. I want it to be less. So I'm looking at this space. It's about a finger distance away from my print. So maybe I start with a finger distance away from my print, and I might set my ruler there. And then I'm going to look at this edge, or even this paper edge, and I want to try to make my ruler parallel. So I'm going to slide my ruler over just a smidge so this distance looks more parallel. And then I'm going to be cutting along this line though. So now I'm just going to take my pencil, I'm going to lightly draw myself a line to know where to cut. So now I'm going to switch over to my scissors, and as carefully as I can, I'm going to cut on that pencil line that I drew. So just remember that this is permanent, and once you start cutting, you're not going to be able to put it back. Okay? And then I might do something similar on the other side, where it's about a finger distance away from the edge. I'm going to set my ruler down, but now I want this side to also be parallel. So I'm going to remove my ruler so that looks parallel. Then I'm going to draw it on this edge. So now I've got a guide to follow when I cut. So once you've got that done, then you could also decide on what enhancements you might want to draw on the surface of this design. So you have some gel pens at your table, and you have some Sharpie markers at your table. Just remember that whatever you do is permanent. You cannot undo that once it's down on the paper. So some things that you might do is get some scrap paper from your art folder and test these colors to see what they look like, because some of the pens and markers might be dried out. But also they might draw differently on the surface than you expect it to be on the white paper. So maybe I might decide to do some outlining with an orange Sharpie. The orange Sharpie is a warm color, and I printed with a warm color for here. So maybe that's what I do with this, is I just come back in and I start to do some outlining. And I've got a skinny Sharpie and I've got a wide Sharpie that I could decide to work with. And maybe you create a pattern with how you do this. Maybe you decide not to outline everything in orange. Maybe it's just some portions of your print that get the outlining. And maybe I switch colors. Maybe a portion of this is outlined with a different color besides orange. But whatever I do, I want to be very neat with my outlining, because I don't want my drawing to take away from my printing. So now I'm going to work on this zigzag opposite of it, because that was the same design. Okay, so this is all a part of enhancing, where you might cut away unwanted pieces and then bring out more details from the original print that you might want to see. So you could be drawing on the print itself, or you could be drawing in the background. Alright, so you would proceed to do that with any of the extra prints that you have. Really, you're going to be turning into me your 2 best prints. Whether you enhance them or not, it's your choice to do any enhancing with the markers or the gel pens, but then you need to make sure your name is on the back, and then you're going to go put your 2 best prints in the turn-in tray to get credit for this mixed media assignment.